survived an attack. We are gun supporters. We own guns. We hunt. We fish. You know, we enjoy that lifestyle and those rights. But we want to put a face on the fact that your neighbor, your friend, your family member just survived something like this. And something has to change. People have to be able to feel safer. You need a little bit more control and stricter regulations. Something has to change so that we're not having some massive attack in Seattle next weekend or in LA or wherever it may be. You know, like, people are going to be vulnerable for the rest of their lives because firearms are dangerous, and people with firearms who are dangerous are making firearms dangerous. So, you know, like, it's such a hard thing to process. You know, you asked, have we ever been in this terror, panic moment before? No. But for the rest of my life, I'm going to wonder, am I going to go through this again? Not even 3 feet wide, where, you know, staff could pass through to get to other sections. And so people were coming down off the bleachers as this wave of thousands of people are running towards us. Because there's, like, everything is barricaded. We've been fenced into all these areas where you're not supposed to walk and all that. So you're just kind of, like, stuck. Our bleacher group was, like, between the bleachers, get between it, just, like, yelling and screaming for people to get down there. And he was maybe 4 people ahead of me. He was already in that little, you know, zone to try to run, and I was trying to help people get down. And there's this woman who, like, her wheelchair was at the front of the bleachers, and she wasn't going to be able to get a wheelchair through that section. So I was just trying to help get her and her daughter get down and get through the bleachers. And Ryan was getting, like, swarmed by people away from me. And you just have this panicked moment, like, will I ever see my husband again? And by the time we got past to the back of the bleachers, you know, there was so many people trying to get, it was like cattle being herded, a huge group of cattle into those little gates where it's like one single file at a time. And Ryan and I were trying to get back to each other, and people had now started trying to jump off the back of the bleachers because you couldn't even, like, get down them anymore. So we were catching people as they were jumping and falling and trying to just, like, help them get down. And so after we did that a few times, we kind of, like, just held each other, and he was squeezing my shirt so hard that, like, my pants were, like, gonna fall down. Like, he was just, like, holding on to me as we were trying to get through this stampede. And the whole time, you know, you're hearing this rat-tat-tat-tat-tat, so it's like you want to stop and take cover, but your body's just trying to keep going. And at this time, I don't even know, like, time lapse. I don't even know how long that was. Maybe a minute and a half.
Yeah.
So we had made it to kind of, like, where all of the vendors are for the event. So, like, you know, souvenirs and drinks and shirts and just all these different people who have signed up to, you know, sell stuff at this event. None of them were running. They were just standing trying to usher people, and the event staff wasn't running. They were just standing there trying to help people get out, which is incredibly brave of them to just, you know, try to take care of these patrons who were there. And so we broke free from that, like, corral area, and people were just yelling, run to the Tropicana, run, because it was the nearest hotel to our event. And so we just ran as hard as we could. It was maybe like half a mile away, and so we just ran. And you can still hear, like, shots in the background, and people are bloody all around you and falling on the ground because they can't run. And we get to the Tropicana, and, like, everyone is shoving in, and it's this huge long hallway. And so we're all just keep running, and then you hear screaming and running towards you. And so at that point we were thinking, like, is there a gunman coming towards us?
Because we don't,
You know,
at
like,
that point we were, you know, didn't
no
know
one
anything.
knew what was going on.
So I think it's, it was multiple gun, you know.
You know, why would people be screaming and running towards us when we all were coming from the other direction? So at that point, you know, we weren't, like, in the clear. We were just terrified that someone was coming towards us with weapons, and people were screaming and running back. So then it was just this sea of people, like, slamming into each other in this little hallway, and people were on the ground just getting trampled. And I just remember, like, what do you do? Try to stop and help, or do you just keep running? And so I started pounding on doors, like, open the door and let us in. And other people started pounding. And one door opened, and I just remember shoving Ryan, like, get inside. And all these people, I just kept shoving them in. And then I came in, I slammed the door shut and locked it. There was probably 40 people in that one hotel room. And everyone was just in, like, a totally different state of mind. Some people were just, like, so shocked they couldn't speak. Some people were, like, hysterical, like, I just saw someone get shot, they're dead, you know, like, blood, like, just everyone was in a different mode of panic. A bathroom, people had climbed into the tub in the shower, the closet was full of people, you know, you're just like active shooter, what do? You try to hide, right? So everyone in this room, we're all just like yelling at each other, like to be quiet, you know, get away from the window, turn off the lights, like just be quiet. And I think we were probably in there for 20 minutes, 15, something like that. And that was the time when I texted my mom and I said, you know, someone just opened fire on our concert, we're running, we're hiding.
Yeah, we didn't know what was going on, we didn't know, you know, if there's multiple shooters and if they're, you know.
So I took that minute to like send something to my mom. And then in the bathroom, women had fallen and they were all bloodied and their knees were all banged up, and I was just trying to pass out water to people, get, you know, like cups of water from the toilet, not the toilet, the sink. You know, we were just trying to like do damage control for the moment. And then the guy whose room we got into, he was like, I'm a deputy in Utah, I have a gun, I'm going out there. And everyone was like, no, you're not, you know, that's not what you're supposed to do, just stay put. And he was so insistent. There's a guy in the bathroom who was like, had a pocket knife and he was trying to open up the venting system. Like, you know, people were just panicked, like, I gotta get out of here. And this guy, you know, his wife's on the phone being told by his daughter that she's covered in blood and can't find her friends, and she's hysterical. And this guy, his wife, is like, I have a gun, I'm going out. And so it's like everyone was just 100 miles a minute doing whatever they were doing. So I opened the door and I let him out because he wanted to go. And he came back a few minutes later and he said, Tropicana said, get to the MGM, like get out of the hotel. And so of course, you know, we're thinking, yes, we want to get out. Like, you people won't shut up. You're being so noisy and screaming. And, you know, if there is a shooter running around, like, I would think I would rather risk running than standing in one solid room again and get shot at. So we got out and we just ran, and, you know, probably another half a mile of running, and got into the MGM. And when we got there, you know, there's droves of people with panic on their faces and blood on their clothes, and like, you walk into this environment where no one in the MGM knew what was going on, and people are sitting there gambling and counting cards at tables. And
I mean, people were still playing poker, and
no one knew what was happening.
There was oblivious, like, just totally, like, because I mean, there's still music going, you know.
It's just like vacation mode.
Yeah, just hitting the slot machines and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's how those casinos are like designed.
Right. No, you have no idea what's going on around you. So we ran up to a table, and I was just like telling this employee, like, we just came from a concert, we were just attacked by gunfire, everyone is evacuating, what are we supposed to do? And he literally was like, that's weird, you know, like, what are you talking about? And so we just said, like, screw this, we're not wasting our time. So we had just been in the MGM earlier that day, and so we knew the lay of that area. And the only thought on my mind, like, this whole time, obviously, is, you know, stay safe and get out alive. But our child was home in Juneau, and my only thought was, like, you have to connect with Braden, and you have to be able to tell him what's happening. And so we ran to this little kiosk, and we bought a phone charger, because my phone was going dead, and a bottle of water. And then we ran up into a closed employee area, and we just hid for a while because, like we said, we didn't know what was actually happening. All we heard was all this crazy gunfire, and we're being told to run. But no one knew, like, were people storming the field with guns? Like, you just didn't know. So we found an area, plugged our phone in, and made that decision, you know. if you never get to talk to your kid again, would you rather have spared them the worry of what you're going through, or would you want to see their face say you love them? So we FaceTimed our son, and you know, all these people are running around trying to find somewhere to go, and we're up above on this like bridged area where you can see, if you stand up, it's a half wall and you can see over. So we were like hiding behind this half wall, calling him and just trying to tell him like, I'm sorry to scare you. We don't know what's happening, but we love you. And when we hung up with him, we called his mom so that his side of the family could know what was going on. And then we just sat there for a minute, and he was like, I was so worried he was gonna have a cardiac event or something, like, you know, adrenaline's running, you can't breathe, you're like in panic
My heart was
mode.
going a mile a minute, like, yeah.
So we're sitting there trying to like, okay, is this it? Like, are we okay? And then you hear people screaming again, and the stampede of people start running through the MGM. So then we're thinking like, what if a shooter's in the MGM? So we found this room near us. It was like a
VIP section.
Luxury lounge or something.
So no one was in it.
It was empty, it was dark, there was rows of couches, and so we just went in there and we just hid behind couches to kind of like wait it out and see if people would calm down or if we'd start hearing guns again. We didn't hear anything for a while. And then, you know, we're sitting here like fearing for our lives, and we look over the edge of this VIP area and people are just like in lounge chairs below drinking a drink. And, you know, it's just this horrible mix of completely oblivious people and people running for their lives. And like both worlds were meeting and no one was communicating and no one knew. So at that point...
And by that point, too, all the employees left. They had evacuation
The whole
plans.
hotel was empty except
all the
for
employees
people.
left, and so only guests
Vacationers were there.
Only, yeah, exactly.
But same thing.
Yeah, there was no employees. Like
All the machines were running, all the music was playing. It was just like vacation mode, but desert town at the same time. And at that point, you know, we did see security guards who were kind of like, if there was people in this outside area of the hotel, they were ushering them away. And they're trying to get all of us to go to a convention center in their hotel. So again, just corralling thousands of people into one more area that could be vulnerable. So we were like, we're not doing that.
And when this is all going on, Hilary was getting
starting to get
saying
texts.
It's like there was an attack at the Bellagio, there was an attack at the
Luxor,
there's a
you know.
Exactly, bomb scare at the Luxor, like
So
stuff
friends
like that.
and family were trying to tell us.
Yeah, so we thought there was, you know, this was like a full on, you know, teams of people going around, you know.
So at that point, you know, we're in like the largest hotel on the strip, the MGM, and we found our way to this lounge where there was actually quite a few other people from the concert. And like these bands right here is from the concert. This was like our identifier. You know, you could see in the crowd of people who were just dazed and standing there. Everyone had their bracelets on still, and I just kept asking people, are you okay? Is your party all fine? Like, do you need help? You know, we were giving water to anyone we could find. People were just kind of unloading their stories, like, my friend got sent in an ambulance, I don't know if they're okay, or, you know, this lounge was full of people, and there's this kid named Jacob, and he was 21, decked out in an American flag shirt and a cowboy hat, and he was just shocked. He couldn't stop talking, and we were just trying to like calm him down and get him to realize like, you're safe for the moment, we're all here together. There was this guy named Bob who everyone he went to the concert with was unaccounted for. So the whole time, you know, we're just trying to comfort each other and hug each other at the same time, wondering what the hell is happening outside and why don't we know, like, is this over? Is it gonna happen again? So we were in the MGM for probably 2 hours. It was like maybe 12:30, almost 1 a.m. And so we just kept fielding like texts and phone calls, and the news now, every screen in the casino is blasting this event. But still, people are like trying to come in there to get a drink. And it's like, no, like no one's even here, like go away. Like we almost died, we're not drinking, go away. So we just had this area where, you know, we were sharing my phone charger that I bought. People were trying to contact their families, and so we were just spending all this time there just trying to regroup and like settle down. And at one point, I think it was like close to 1 a.m., we saw a SWAT team going through the MGM. And like that moment, it was like two thoughts, obviously. Like, okay, fine, the hotel's being searched, we're okay. Or like, did they find something and they're going to get this person or whoever? So, you know, at that point, we were trying to just kind of calm down and make an exit strategy. We actually were staying on Fremont Street, which is off the strip completely. So, you know, all these different hotels were evacuating, and if we had been on the strip, we couldn't go back anyways. So we were just thankful, like, we're not staying here. We just want to get back to where we're going. So it was probably 2 a.m. by the time that employees started, like, kind of coming out of the woodwork and saying, like, you know, you're safe to go find a ride. Like, you can get out of here now. I think people are starting to let people get out. So we found the Uber rideshare in the garage. And of course, you know, people are just shell-shocked and standing around. Like, you want to leave, but you don't even know where to go. And you don't know, like, if it's safe to leave. But we just really wanted to get out of there. So we found an Uber, and this woman drove for probably 40 minutes just trying to get an access to get out of the area. Like, every road.
The roads were shut down. The freeway was shut down, so you couldn't even...
Ambulances,
I-15, I think is what it was.
Fire trucks. Literally, you couldn't get out of the area, so we just drove in circles for like 40 minutes. And she was telling us that that night her teenager, like, refused to say goodbye or give her a kiss or whatever. And she was like, I'm calling him right now because, you know, this is exactly why you say you love people. You don't know if you're ever going to see them again. And it was so funny to hear this teenager on the other end. Mom, like, are you okay? Like, I know you're at work in the strip. Like, are you okay? And she's like, I'm fine. You know, I've got these people who just got through this and they're fine and we're going to be okay. And he was just like, I love you so much, Mom. And again, I was just like, we got to get home. We got to see our kid.